The time is 7:30, and I call the August 19th, 2025 meeting of Yardley Borough Council to order. Let us please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. How do we have a roll call, please?
Okay. Mr. Stump?
Present.
Mr. Carlson?
Present.
Mr. Fiener?
Present.
Ms. Siegel-Morris?
Present.
Ms. Scherer?
Present.
Mr. Applebaum?
I'm here.
And Ms. Thompson?
Okay, thank you very much. And so we have a quorum this evening. Council President Thompson is away tonight, so I'll be chairing the meeting tonight as the Council Vice President. And we'll start with community announcements, starting with Council. Do you have any community announcements to share? Okay, and anything from the public, community announcements? Okay, and we will move on to public comment. This is the portion of the meeting where members of the public can approach the table, state their name and municipality, and keep their comments to 3 minutes or less. Any public comments this evening? Was that? Yes, please come up.
Is this on?
It is on.
Okay. Dawn Perlmutter, Yardley Borough. I'd like to talk about the Police Transition Committee. Apparently, it is causing a retention problem. The uncertainty of the future of the Yardley Borough Police Department has caused officers to leave the department and makes it difficult to recruit officers to apply knowing there may not be a department. President Caroline Thompson created a public safety issue. This police transition nonsense is affecting the public safety of residents. The uncertainty is further complicated by appointing an interim chief of police. You have the opportunity this evening to correct this. We do not need to transition anything. We do not need to waste everyone's time with the transition committee. We can reduce the police budget if needed, and we certainly don't need to spend $20,000 on a search committee for a new chief. Why waste that money on a search committee? Because certain council members think we can do better than Chief Golden, who has been here for 20 years and just had his 20-year anniversary. Congratulations. And he actually lives nearby. The last search committee hired Chief Kelly, who lives in North Jersey, and in the entire 10 years of his tenure refused to relocate to Yardley or even Bucks County or even Pennsylvania. The take-home vehicle and gas, 50 miles round trip, was certainly an expense we didn't need to incur. Not to mention, if there was an emergency, it would be difficult to get here quickly. The Police Transition Committee has not even met yet. Even though we spent that time interviewing, it's still no harm, no foul. There's been no work completed or even begun yet, unless, of course, President Thompson is already holding meetings like she did before. So you have the opportunity this evening to alleviate everyone's fears of losing their jobs by making a motion right now to disband the Police Transition Committee instead of disbanding the police department. You can also make a motion to make Chief Golden a permanent position. Caroline Thompson is just one member of council. She's not your boss, she's not the CEO of Yardley, and this whole mess started with her. She broke it, she owns it. But you can fix it right now while she's not here to intimidate anyone. If not, we're not going to have a police department to save because people are leaving, and why wouldn't they under these circumstances? Thank you.
Thank you for your statement, your comment. And I will just say for the benefit of the public that on September 16th at 6:30 p.m. right here in Borough Hall is the first official meeting of the Police Transition Committee. I'm not sure if it's been advertised yet. It has been? Okay. And I think it's good that the public shows up and state their views on it. I think that it's good that it's not happening in isolation. So thank you for bringing that up.
Could you repeat the date and time, please?
It will be on the third Tuesday, which is September 16th at 6:30 p.m., and it is a public meeting. So there'll be the 9 members of the Police Transition Committee and any members of the public that wish to attend. Yeah. Yes, please, Mayor.
I just think it's important to add for the record that I think a lot of the things that the speaker said that were portrayed as fact were opinions. So I think that's important for the record.
There are a lot of opinions on the topic, so in different directions. Absolutely. Okay. All right, so we're going to move on. Any further public comment? Yes, please come up. And if you could just state your name and whether you are a borough resident or not.
Raymond Hoffelder, I'm a Yardley resident.
Thank you.
First, I want to congratulate Chief Golden. I think you have a lot of people congratulating your last meeting, and it's nice to have an ethical police chief now. So, I'm upset because it was brought to my attention when the council minutes. My comment was totally different portrayed than what I actually said at that meeting. It said, and my name was spelled wrong. It says Raymond Hoffelder addressed council in support of keeping the police department in Yardley and regarding Ms. Thompson's advertising her mayoral campaign. She tried to actually stop me from talking when I brought up about her interfering in the
I'm
primary.
sorry to interrupt you. Just to this topic actually is our next topic. So
So I should bring, okay.
I think just for the
Okay.
If you could,
Mr. Vice President, I think that I saw an email come by my desk this morning, and I think some of his points are valid that are not related to.
okay. So if you could maybe, this is public comments. If you could,
I would think that's
The whole thing
My
is,
job
like,
is to
I
keep the
think you
meeting
need to reform
organized.
the way minutes are due, because
Yeah.
I like Lower Makefield, when someone makes a comment, it says exactly what they said, so that's like.
I get what you're saying. So, but I'll ask you to come back for that. part.
And you're also, I also have a comment about the contracting for the snow plowing, because.
And that's also on the agenda,
Okay,
so that'll
because
be
there's a
in that
problem with
section.
that too, okay?
I hear you. I hear you. And you're welcome to make comments then. Thank you. Sorry for the rigorous nature of our or system of order. Okay, so with that said, we're going to move on to consideration of the consent agenda dated August 19th, 2025.
Or are we doing the presentation before that?
Oh, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. We're going to switch the order. We have a presentation that was going to come later in the meeting, and we're going to put that before the consideration of the consent agenda because we have people on Zoom and ready to go. So, Councilperson Stump, I will hand it to you.
Alrighty. Nick, or do we?
I mean, I could share now. I don't know if,
Yeah, just get it teed up.
share screen, yeah. I mean, I can share it, a nice picture of her and partner, I guess.
There we go. So we're going to have a presentation from TextMyGov. They're a company that offers texting services for municipalities that we can communicate better with our residents. Back in July, Michelle and I both had a presentation with Samantha, and then there was a follow-up presentation that I believe Dawn and Kim were on. We split it up into small groups so as to stay within the Sunshine Act. And I had the thought that it would be good for all of council to be able to see it and also for the public to be able to see what we're considering as well. So Samantha's going to do a little bit of a presentation, then we can ask questions. Let's see, are we here? Perfect.
She might unmute herself.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not too loud, not too quiet,
Too loud.
too loud. Oops. There we go. How does that sound?
Yep.
Go ahead, Samantha.
Okay. So it sounds like Jared had walked us through it pretty well. We had connected originally with Wes because we wanted to find essentially another avenue of being able to communicate with the residents And then from there, it progressed to a meeting with Paula, then eventually to a meeting with Jared, and we've had a few other meetings as well since then. So to just kind of give you a quick perspective, TextMyGov has a way of making sure that you can send the residents within the borough a text message that is one way. It'll make it so that you can send out, whether that's your weather alerts, road closures, urgent notifications, other budgetary announcements. If you'd like to, we can send things out that way as well. One of the main reasons why, if I remember correctly, why Wes had asked that we continue on with the presentations is because, similar to a lot of the other smaller boroughs within the area, it sounds like Yardley Borough is connected to a county system of sorts. But a lot of the times when you're working with a county system, it relies on the residents to sign themselves up for the program. And so that means anybody not signed up for the program would not receive a message if we were going to send something out about, say, an active shooter in the area, or a street light out, or a road closed. And so that's what TextMyGov does. What we've done over the last, I want to say 6 years or so, is we've been compiling a protected contact database, phone numbers, addresses, names of the vast majority of residents throughout Pennsylvania. And what this does is make it so that you guys can then send out what we call a permission-based message. And that message will then allow your residents to either agree to receive messages from the borough or to opt out of the system. But either way, we'd be able to help everybody get involved and on the same page and on the same day. So that's kind of the concept that we've been working with. Jared, I'm curious to know, I want to do my best to make sure that what I show the council is the best use case of our time. Would you be okay with just letting us know what you wanted to use the program for, what you liked about it, and then I'll just dive in from there?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is, so right now we have an email list, we have, social media, but, well, number one, direct text reach, a higher percentage of people than social media algorithms and email spam filters. And I think the biggest thing is just general, for example, like when we're voting about the budget, or there's large issues on the ballot that maybe we can alert people, or if we have, like, for example, the main street through our town that the detour is pretty lengthy is going to be shut down later this month, and the orange signs have gone up, and there's a lot of questions about it, but there hasn't been any direct communication from the borough other than, I know Acting Chief Golden put out a post about the road closure, and then still people are asking lots and lots of questions. And so I think one of the things that you talked about was, and this isn't totally relevant to that, was that we can also zone alerts to only alert certain things to different parts of town, or there's things that we can blast out to everybody in the database. And so, so I think those were my things that I really liked about it. But other than that, I mean, from my perspective, it's a texting service. It sends text messages, people get them, they're informed of the information. I think that's kind of the bottom line for me, but I think some of those kind of more nuanced features gave it a little more of a an interest on that ability to dive into those things.
So I'm just going to dive in for a second here. Are we doing like an actual presentation of how it works? Is that necessary, or are we just going to ask questions? I think
the biggest thing is just like really high level. Let's just
Okay.
I know, or you had some specific questions.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be happy to get us.
You want to dive in?
Where'd
You
you
still
go?
with us?
You still with us?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
Okay, all right, great. So, my question with this, first of all, just want to thank you, Jared, and also Paula and Wes for the initiative to do this. I think it's absolutely necessary for us to be able to text residents, because if anyone's inbox is like mine, I mean, forget it, you might not see it. And people do opt in to text when they want to make sure they get it. So that concept is a no-brainer, and a lot of municipalities do it. The question is whether this is the right service for the borough and the cost makes sense. So my question is always, sort of like my challenge question to you is that there are a lot of services out there, whether it's email or websites or text messaging that, businesses use. And like for text messaging, for example, there's Twilio, there's QuickSend, and a number of others that are very reputable. I've used them. And they cost anywhere from like around a penny and change to 2 cents, 2.5 cents per message. No contracts, nothing. And you can have a database, just like you do with your email list, of the people in your town. And so I can send a message to, let's say, 1,500 residents for $37 or $20 or something around that level. So if I add that up, how many of those are we going to send per year? Are we going to send like 10 messages, 20 messages? There's a point at which we're going to bother people. So, we have to send the right number. So how much is that going to cost? Like, a few $100 a year? So I'm trying to understand what this does for the borough. I get that you have all the addresses, and it would be some groundwork for us, but we've been doing that already to collect phone numbers. Wouldn't be that hard for us to get everyone's cell number to opt in. What advantages do you offer as a government-specific service other than just kind of putting a wrapper around those other services that makes the cost justified?
How much
Yeah,
is it?
no, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, but more directly, how much is it? What's the structure for payment?
Oh, yeah, because I looked at, right.
Thank you.
That's in the packet. It's $4,000 a year. It's a 3-year commitment. That is the upgraded package price. So the base package price, the amount of text that were in it was not going to be the amount that we would need because, so this is for 100,000 texts, because if you send a text and it goes to 1,000 people, that's 1,000 messages. You send one text, it goes to everybody in town. There's 1,500 households. We're talking between 1,000 and 2,000 texts are used each time we send a message. So the cost is $4,000 a year. There's a one-time $1,000 setup fee. And I did price out a couple other options. One came in about half, but it looked like, and this is what I wanted Sam to specifically speak to a little more. I sent her the name of the company and asked if she could speak to that directly. And make a case, convince us.
Or a lot, a lot less, because I looked at Twilio and QuickSend are like.
And then I will say too, I looked at
Wow.
another company, and the price came, when I did the math on it, it came to $3,600 a year.
Yeah.
So we're in basically the same ballpark
Yeah.
with that one. So yeah, if you could speak to that, Sam.
Yeah, and I'm sorry it's a bit of a challenging question, but I think there must be government-specific things that you're doing to make that worthwhile, because it's probably not the first time you heard that question, so we'd like to hear what that is.
Or, excuse me,
No,
I'm sorry. You are saying that there are cheaper ways to do that, and with the information that we have, it can be done, but who is going to do it? Are you doing it?
Well, I've done it before.
No, I'm asking you for the borough. Are you going to put that, I'm just saying, like, they offer a service that
Yeah.
actually does all that for you and
No,
makes it an easy transition.
So you're asking me something I actually know about quite a bit.
That's fine.
Okay,
That's
so
why I'm
you
asking.
have the phone numbers, and you use a service to send texts out. You can use their service, and you can use like 100 other services. I'm saying that their service has a government wrapper, like this is for government, but outside of that, I'm asking them, what is the thing that justifies the amount that we would use that service? Probably far less than $1,000 a year is what it would cost. And here it's $4,000 a year. So I'm trying to figure out, what do we get for $3,000 plus extra dollars that we have to spend per year from them? Because I can do this with the other service just as easily. Does that make sense?
Well, one thing I noticed during the presentation that I witnessed was that you could send messages to a specific street or specific people. So not every message goes to every text number that you have in the system. So
River-
that was
like
And that's called a segmented list, so you could have your numbers. You could do that with any service, because of course, imagine you're a business, you don't want to necessarily send a text to everyone. You've got segmented lists, so you could do it by neighborhood. So that's something you could do throughout. I think it's interesting what they mentioned about having pre-compiled lists. That's kind of interesting.
That's a very impressive
But we
thing.
already have a list, so I'd like to know, again, if we spend $12,000 over 3 years, plus $1,000 set up, $13,000, versus what I'm saying, we could spend probably 2,000 or 3,000. What do we get for $10,000 over the next 3 years that we can't already do with any other service? That's the question I have.
No, and it's a great question. Are there any other questions to go along with that before I tackle it?
I'd like to hear it.
Okay. To really to answer your question, I like how you had mentioned the TextMyGov is a government wrapper, and that essentially is what we are. Yes, we offer a one-way text messaging service that will allow you to send out messages to designated streets, designated areas of town, let you designate whether or not the emergency is applicable based on whether or not it's flooding. On top of that, TextMyGov is a completely FOIA compliant, which means that we track and maintain all of your information for you without you needing to do that on your own. We also work right alongside Twilio. Twilio is actually where we get our text messages, and then we then give them to you for cost. So then when you guys are utilizing TextMyGov, you're using Twilio's text messages, but then you're also using our database services, you're utilizing our specific area map capabilities, you're utilizing, I mean, all of the above. We had talked to Paula about being able to manage a lot of the incoming reports, whether that's about potholes in the road or street lights that might be out. I mean, all around, TextMyGov is going to be your full package. You'll have an account manager who sets everything up for you. You'll have all of the media material that you need. I mean, I could really dive into it. I mean, if we're going to look just at our notifications alone, the database that we populate and then regenerate year to year will populate a map selection tool that looks a lot like this. So that then if there's an area of the town that needs to be notified, you'll be able to come in here, you'll be able to notify just that specific area. And then from there, you'll be able to keep track of all of the information that's coming in and out of the borough so that you're maintaining your compliance. On top of that, we're going to make sure that you have all of the media that you need. So, I mean, there's a lot of boroughs that I've worked with who have tried to encourage residents to sign themselves up for a texting service. And I've personally have never seen something work as well as being able to simply send them the message first. Give them the opportunity to opt out if they would like to. But then from there, the entire borough is aware of what the program is in advance. And then from there, we can provide you with media that looks like this. I mean, I want to say the last time I hung up these door hangers in a borough, we got almost a 100% success rate just because of how active we were in making sure everybody signed up. So you have a team that's on board with this. You have account managers who have been doing this for a year. You have pre-generated text responses. You're able to manage all of your reported issues that may be coming into the borough, and from there it's just it's the package. It's all of it.
Can I ask you
Does
about
that answer your question?
yeah, actually what was intriguing was the inbound side. I'm curious, would we be able, let's say you have an inbound service, so residents can say, hey, there's a pothole in the street, or the snowplow hit the curb, or whatever happened. Are you able to generate, like, let's say a weekly or monthly report that shows if we've responded or if we haven't responded, or what the conversation threads are like, so that we could have like accountability to staff kind of thing? Are you able to do that?
We are. Yep.
Does your service integrate or export out to XLS or Excel or CRMs of any type?
Yes.
Which both or?
Normally it's Excel. We generally speaking will export to Excel or even into a PDF. But we give you freedom to do that just right here on the dashboard. Actually, that's just on page 1.
And I couldn't hear two things that you said, so I'd like to ask you again. You mentioned compliance. What compliance was that again?
Oh, that was FOIA compliance.
What is that?
So if there's a request that comes in to request public information from the town, we have the ability to track all of the conversations coming into TextMyGov for you so that you don't need to have hardware on staff tracking that information. So we'll do that for you and protect the info for you.
Thank you.
We call those RTKs in Pennsylvania, Sam, right to know. So that's probably why you were getting that question, because we use a different acronym, but the same thing based on our state law. No, don't apologize. I was just giving you the context for why we didn't know what that was.
Would you mind telling us, are there local municipalities to us in the Bucks County area or Philadelphia that use this?
I mean, I believe so. A few that I've pulled up just up front, and I'm sorry, I don't know how close these guys are to you, but this is Spring Township. They just barely signed on with us. I want to say probably 6 months ago. This is Pike Township, and you'll notice on all of the websites we work with, we have a widget that's down here in the corner. So if a resident wants to sign themselves up for the program, they can just come in here, type in a phone number, and then they're good to go. This is Muncie Creek Township that we've worked with. This is another borough. So as far as just how close they are to you, I don't know the answer to that. I know I had sent over a reference to Paula, but I know she went on vacation, so I don't know if she had the chance to give them a call or not.
One more
But
technical.
if you, go ahead.
So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're okay. I had just sent over a few references, and I'm not sure if Paula had the time to give them a call or not, because I know she was on vacation for a little bit. But the easy answer is yes. If I had to guess, I would say we have well over 80 other municipalities in Pennsylvania alone that we work with, and we have over 1,000 nationwide.
So in terms of cybersecurity and other types of issues, I noticed that you do allow people to type the phone numbers in directly from the website. How do you prevent robotic submissions? Is it CAPTCHA, or what system do you use to protect this? And how do you determine if there's spam or some kind of malicious or bad actor?
So we use the same GovCloud technology that the U.S. military uses, but you will be able to tell, and let me see if I can even just pull it up right here.
And do they have to be in our system already to qualify to submit something, or are we able to accept submissions from people that have not signed up?
So
I think I'm just going to stop for a second. Yeah, sorry. I think if I could just give you like a minute to wrap it up, just so we spent like 18 minutes on this already. And I think if we can get deeper, maybe we could schedule another call with you, like offline, other council people who have more questions, maybe dig a little deeper. But could you just kind of answer that? Yeah.
Can I just ask?
Sure.
I know I saw it, you saw it. Did everybody here see it?
No.
No. Okay. Well, that would have been probably helpful.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, Sam, you can go ahead and just like wrap up David's question, but then we're going to move on.
okay.
If you don't mind, thank you.
Sorry, David, will you clarify your question? I don't know if I understood.
The security, what types of security protocols do you put in place to ensure that the numbers are real, that you're not being spoofed, and in compliance with other, if we need to be in compliance with any cyber laws, and I don't know them, for this particular instance?
No, that's a great question. I'm going to have to send you an email with all of that outlined. We do use all of the same technology that the U.S. military uses. We use GovCloud technology, and we haven't had any issues. If you're wondering if we've been hacked before,
No, I'm not.
Anybody ever successfully hack us? But I can. I'll have to shoot you an email if that's okay, and I can get you all of those details. I just don't know if I would have time to search the information and then get it back to you.
I think that's a good.
I would like to actually see, not tonight, I guess, but to set up something so we can all see actually how it
I
works.
think it just requires further discussion. Yes, Wes.
Hi, Sam, Wes Foraker speaking. Could you send me a recording of one of the previous presentations that I could share with the council people that haven't seen it yet?
That would be great.
Yes.
A good solution.
If you send that to me, I can share it with the council people.
Yeah, and then we could just email follow-up questions if we have, and just get that'd be an easy way to move this along.
That sounds good to me. I'll let go of my screen here and let you guys get back to your meeting. Is there anything else you want me to run through before I leave you?
I think we're good for now. Everyone's good? Okay. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to move on to consideration of the consent agenda dated August 19th, 2025. It includes the following items. I will read them. A, approval of minutes dated July 15th, 2025. B, approval to amend the minutes of June 3rd, 2025, removing address. C, event permit, Yardley Beer Festival, October 18th. D, Harvest Day, September 20th, rain date, October 11th. E, event permit, kids music round, September 8th to November 10th. F, event permit, Yardley Friends meeting, flea market, September 6th, rain date, September 13th. G, banner permit, Yardley Beer Festival, October 5th, October 19th. H, banner permit, Harvest Days, September 7th, September 21st. I, certificate of appropriateness, IJKL are certificates of appropriateness. I'm not going to read each of those. It's on the public agenda. M is consideration of FEMA-funded 112 to 114 Morgan Avenue elevation, payment certificate number 6. And N is withdrawal of 77 Morgan Avenue from the FMA 2020 project. Before I ask if anyone on council would like to remove any items, I'll remove item A because there's been some conversation about that. Does anyone have any other item that they'd like to remove for separate consideration?
Item B, actually, I think is the one that we've talked about extensively, not item A.
So we'll remove A and B.
We could remove both.
I don't know if it's appropriate, but I'd like to hear more about the elevations, M and N.
Okay, so what
I see
item?
that Susan's here.
Okay.
Are you here to speak
That
about
is
that?
item M.
And N,
M and N.
yes.
Okay. So we're going to, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve items C through L of the consent agenda, and then we'll go and consider
Second.
separate items. Sorry?
Second.
I need a motion first.
Oh, you want a motion? I'll so approve. So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any discussion? So motion is made by Councilperson Applebaum and seconded by Councilperson Carlson. Is there any discussion from council on any of those items, C through L? From the public? Yes. Please come up if you have a comment on those items. Sorry. Yeah, just because the microphone is here, so, yeah. Otherwise, there'll be this blank spot, and we'll
Okay.
wonder where the 18 seconds of tape went.
The agenda is missing a lot of information. Like, for example, the Yardley Beer Festival, is that at 19 West College? Is that at the American Legion? Is that at Fitzgerald? We have beer festivals all over the place. So what is that for? It's not, there's a lot of even the kids' music round, where is that? Like, there's just no identifying information with this.
Okay, I'll say thanks for your comment. I'm not sure what the process is to decide what to put on the council agenda versus what to put on the public agenda, but I hear what you're saying. It makes sense.
So where
I don't know
is,
what-
do you know, does anybody know where the Yardley Beer Festival is?
Yes, it's not.
Oh, okay, because we do have 3 of them, so that's what I was just wondering.
Yeah, so let's do this. Who,
I could read,
you want to read the addresses of where these events are, just for the benefit of the public, or where they're being held? Would that?
I was going to say I can ask for C through F.
No, we don't have to take them
Guess
out.
everyone's against that idea. Okay, never
Yeah,
mind.
no, we don't have to vote on them separately. It's just that I think if.
All right, fine.
if-
So
if you
Yardley
could
Beer
just share
Festival,
where
we
they are.
know, is at Fitzgerald Field on October 18th, Harvest Day. Mr. Wayne, could you give the exact location, because it's a little bit convoluted?
Buttonwood Park and Afton Avenue.
Okay,
A new location this year.
right, based, yeah, okay, then the kids' music round, Wes, is that the pavilion?
Buttonwood Park.
Under the pavilion or near the pavilion?
I believe it's Pavilion.
Yeah. The Yardley Friends Flea Market's at Yardley Friends, and I think that's it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, so any further comment from the public? Okay, I'll go ahead and call a question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes 6-0. And now we'll go ahead and consider the removed items. The first one is approval of the minutes dated July 15th, 2025. And I will we'll go ahead and make a motion. Does anyone want to put a motion forth to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Okay, any second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilperson Applebaum, seconded by Councilperson Stump. Discussion from council. I have a question. Are these the minutes that you had a question about?
No, those are all the June 3rd.
June 3rd.
It was June 3rd.
We're on the
Okay.
July 15th.
So there's no question about these minutes?
Correct.
Okay, so does anyone have any discussion about these minutes? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please say aye. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes 6-0. So now we'll consider item B, and those were the ones, that's the one that there was correspondence about. This is approval to amend.
That's a different issue.
What's that?
That's a different issue.
It's two issues for the same minutes. So it's approval to amend the minutes of June 3rd, 2025, removing address. So first, I think, is there a motion to approve those minutes? Or does anyone want to put forth?
Sure, so moved.
Okay, is there a second? So there's no second. Okay. I think we're gonna just talk about this one, okay? There is an issue that there's an address that shouldn't have been there that was in there. So that's an issue. And there's also a correspondence we received from resident, I'm gonna ask you to come up in a moment, basically concerning that what's in the minutes doesn't reflect what the resident said. So we received correspondence, and I think that needs to be looked into and sorted out because we want the minutes to be accurate and to match what actually occurred. That said, is there any further discussion from the council first?
I would just say that the issue about removing the address, that's what we're voting to amend the minutes that we already approved for June 3rd to make that change. So that, with Dr. Perlmutter's address, has already been done.
That's been done.
I would recommend that the council take a vote on that issue because we are required to make the minutes publicly accessible. So we should remove that address for now, and then we can pull the minutes off of the website for the time being until we do a review of this issue that was addressed in the email from 5 o'clock today.
And to do that review, do we need to take a vote to review those minutes, to remove the second vote?
Yeah, so I would do a second vote to do that because these minutes were previously approved.
Okay, great. So you have that. So let me ask again, if someone wants to make a motion to approve the amended minutes of June 3rd, 2025 that remove the address.
So moved.
Okay, so we have
Seconded.
motion. So motion was made by Councilperson Applebaum, seconded by Councilperson Stump. We've already discussed it. So is there any comment from the public on this unapproved? Does the public understand what's happening here? We're amending the minutes, but then we're going to have another vote on whether we review the same minutes that we're amending. Okay? You want to comment on the, so this is about, your comment would be about the amending the existing June 3rd minutes to remove the address. Exactly. Yes, go ahead. Thank you.
I also think it'll help explain to, residents what's going on. Basically, the June 3rd, my home address was added to the minutes even though I did not provide them at the meeting. And a lot of residents are unaware that you do not have to provide your address. It's established law that a federal judge, this happened with a case with Pennsbury School District, that you cannot require people to give their address at public meetings, and home addresses are protected by the right to privacy. And the minutes are not supposed to be, used as a method to punish residents who may criticize council members. That's called doxing. And I'm not sure if that's exactly the case, but I basically had noticed it and I emailed the recorder And I just told her, that had happened and not to do it in the future. And I had an email in response from Manager Johnson that she said, quote, Ms. McLean followed normal process inputting and that addresses shared in past meetings are added to complete the record. Obviously, which I guess you're going to talk about at the next thing, that you're not supposed to change. It's just supposed to be recorded. And it didn't really sound like Manager Johnson actually wrote that. That's kind of an unusual phrase. But I basically, this has come up before, this issue, and I do think there is a way to sort of correct this, that I just would like to suggest that if residents could kind of view proposed minutes before you vote on them, that then we don't have, because once they're online, they're on the internet forever. You cannot get anything off the internet once it's up there. You can take it off the website, but it gets into those archive sites. So again, I just would like to suggest that maybe one solution is to have some kind of proposed minutes where people could review them before you vote, so that we don't have to go back and have a meeting to then redact. So, thank you.
Thanks for your comment. Any other comments from the public? Yes,
Is it regarding the?
regarding the same
Yeah,
minutes.
I
Yeah.
emailed you, so I'm not going to
Yes.
go into detail. I just want to make sure that the record is corrected, because if you
I'm
read.
going to ask you, although I know your name, to state your name.
Raymond Hoffler.
Are you a
sorry,
borough
sorry.
resident? Okay, thank you.
So I just want to make sure that it's corrected, because I did not say what that says I said, and so it's not a
Yes.
correct record.
So that's a living example of what Dr. Perlmutter
Yeah,
just
so,
said, and I agree with you. It should reflect
right,
what he
right.
said, and it happens. I mean,
Like I
people-
said, there has to be a better way, because Lower Makefield, I was reading through some of their minutes, and they say what the person said,
they just quote. you mean.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's the way it should be done.
Yeah.
Then,
I
and this
don't-
is an official record, because if it ever goes to court, the minutes are the official record, not the video.
Not the video,
So
yeah.
it's important that it be accurate, okay?
I appreciate your input on it, and
Okay.
we're gonna take this up next. That's our next vote.
Right.
But just as far as what you said, Dr. Perlmutter, I think we should look into it, and also it's important. We used to always ask for the address until that thing happened, and then I think there's like a sort of people being used to asking for the address. The main thing we want to know is, are they a borough resident or not? And Jared and I were just talking earlier before this meeting. Sometimes people come up here, they don't even know if they're a borough resident, and they think they're a borough resident, but it turns out they're a Lower Makefield resident. So it's helpful to know the address, but at the same time, we shouldn't be asking. We should just be asking, are you a borough resident? And that's the best we can do under this new change.
May I? So with my 2 seconds of research, I'm going to address the solicitor and say, since it is illegal, we're prohibited from public bodies to ask about addresses, is it also illegal to ask about if they are members of the community, being Yardley Borough versus Lower Makefield or somewhere else?
No, so the case that Dr. Perlmutter referenced, it does offer sort of a proposed solution to the problem, and the two sort of proposals that are in there that you see municipalities use is one, using a sign-in sheet, which would have the full address on it, but that sheet would then just be used and you would basically call those people up for public comment. I would say my recommendation and the preferred option is just to ask, are you a borough resident, or what municipality are you a resident of? And that is something that's contemplated by the case law as being permissible.
Okay. Thank you for that. And we'll have to look into like the sort of draft minutes and how that process would work. I think it's worth looking into that, or maybe just occasionally we have to go through this. Depends how often it happens. I'm going to go ahead and call the question, because we have a motion on the table. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstained? And the motion passes 6-0. Our next question then is going to be, we're going to need a motion to, now, those minutes we just approved with the removed address, to review those minutes once again and correct the record that the resident was referring to, and make sure that his comments are correctly listed in those minutes.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay?
that we amend the minutes of June 3rd, 2025, considering the input of the resident that is, and his assertion that's being, questioned. I'm not sure I said that in a very
Yeah, so,
correct way.
I can just chime in. Under the Sunshine Act, I mean, the requirements for minutes, particularly on this direct issue, are pretty limited. You have to have the name of all citizens as well as the subject matter of their testimony. So in order for you to sort of vote on these minutes, I received this at 5, but I didn't get back to the office from a meeting till about 6:45. I think it makes sense to review the video of the meeting and to make sure that the minutes do accurately reflect the names of the citizens and the subject matter of their testimony. But it's not a direct transcript. It's always going to have some interpretive part of it because you're summarizing basically what was said. But there's a number of different things that are in here, that I think should be reviewed through the video. And really, you can't really approve minutes without seeing what the minutes actually
So I
say.
should retract my motion?
Yeah, I think the correct way to handle it would be to vote to remove the minutes from the website. They would still remain publicly accessible to the public with the change of address if they were requested by the public. In order for us to do a review, amend the language, it would come before you at the next meeting to approve those revised amended minutes.
So, Andrew, we would just be removing them for the time being until we get them revised, right? They wouldn't be removed indefinitely unless someone asked for them.
Right. So,
I mean, I think
on
it'd
the
be
website, we put the minutes online voluntarily. That's not a legal requirement. The minutes
Right.
would still be publicly accessible. So, if a member of the public asked for the minutes,
By request, you mean?
right, they would receive the
Oh, I
minutes.
see.
What we should do on the website, which I used to do it's very easy to do, is instead of the link to the minutes, write under review for accuracy, available upon request. And that way, in the interim, people who wanted them
Yeah.
would see why they're gone.
Yeah, and if we're going to do that, I recommend the minutes that were approved tonight, we put up there. We have the designation on them that these are subject to review.
Right.
And will be amended at the next Borough
Yeah.
Council meeting.
Fair enough. I do think we should do a full, I agree with you, just do a full run through. So that's the motion we're looking
So
for.
I'm going to retract my original motion.
Okay, thank you.
And I guess I will make a new motion are we saying we're keeping the revised version online or not at all?
Yeah, so I would just ask for a motion to approve the review of the minutes dated June 3rd, 2025 by the recording secretary of the borough and to put a designation on the existing minutes adopted tonight delineating that those minutes are subject to further review.
Did you see I said that?
You could just say what he said.
What he said. No, I mean, I agree, and I would move for that motion.
Okay, and do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion has been made by Councilperson Applebaum and seconded by Councilperson Stump. Any discussion from council?
The question I have, and we don't need to really get into this tonight, but when we start looking at this, what's required to be in minutes and not is a question. If you go back to when we were doing the short-term rental ordinance reviews, and we had people in here, when we looked at the meeting summary, it said 6 different it said people stood up for or against it, but it didn't give their whole arguments, and it didn't, give all the arguments that I had. It was a lot of summarizing going on.
Yeah,
So,
and that's...
and that's probably allowed, but I want to make sure we understand and give the right direction to our reporter.
Yeah, so under the Sunshine Act, and this is section 706, there's a couple different provisions here, but the only one that's relevant to this is it states that you have to have the names of all citizens who appeared officially and the subject of their testimony. So it doesn't have to be a full narrative or transcript of what they said. It should just have basically what was the subject of what they discussed.
So they could say 7 people spoke about the short-term rental ordinance, period. They could say,
Yeah, I mean, I would add slightly more detail than that. I would give the gist of what their argument is and what they said, but it doesn't have to be a line-by-line recitation.
because otherwise
It's very confusing.
it'd be like a court reporter thing.
And then you end up having to quote, because of the legal issues, you have to quote it exactly. And then if you get the words wrong, if you can't hear some of the words.
And I think that's also an issue because it's done, the person is not in the, they're going to the video to write the minutes from it. And sometimes
We used
particularly
to not do that.
Particularly the public isn't always heard well. So that's another
So,
issue.
I mean, that's the thing, because we used to not record the meetings. Now we have recordings of everything. So is it true, like what Dr. Perlmutter mentioned, that if there was a legal issue, they only use the minutes and they don't use the recording, or do they use both?
So for example, I'm trying to think of a situation. So if there was like a land development hearing that was before you where you voted to deny and that got appealed to the Court of Common Pleas, the way you would typically see it handled is both the minutes would go up as part of the record, and I have had the court ask that we have a video transcribed, and then they would use the transcription, but that's at the direction of the court. So it's certainly not expected.
Right, issue by issue, you could do it.
And there are some municipalities that have a court reporter come to every single meeting and transcribe it. There's just a significant cost to that, and it's not required under the Sunshine Act.
Thank you. Anything else? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll speak to it just a little bit because I know, Mr. Hoffelder, you sent us an email at 5 o'clock tonight. We did look into it, even though we only had a couple hours of lead time. I actually, as you may know, I live around the corner from you, so I actually walked by your house. I took a couple pictures of your curb just to get a look at it. So if you saw somebody taking pictures of your curb, that was me. You brought a piece of the curb.
Our house was shaking all night every time the plow came up.
Yeah. So we'll get to that when we get to the snow. But anyway, just to let you know, we took it. So I would say on this, just to speak to a little bit of what I think happened. So, our recording secretary is, she's listening to the video. In terms of spelling your name wrong, this shows that we're actually, because we didn't have your address in there because in the 2 years I've been here, you've only been to a couple meetings. I think this was your first time speaking. So, we guessed how to spell your name. We put 2 F's in there when there should have been 1. And I think what happened with Dr. Perlmutter was, again, Marianne, because she knew her, I think your address has been in the minutes in the past, because you said your address in the past. I think she just went, oh, okay, well, I know this information, so let me put it in. However, I get your point. Sometimes the things that make us charming, being a small town of 2,605 residents, we also have to be careful and make sure we're following the law and doing proper procedures. And so, in this instance, taking a look at the procedure, I've actually noticed this from attending Board of Supervisor meetings in Lower Makefield. They just ask the question, are you a township resident? I think where it gets tricky is, I don't think there's any confusion if someone is a resident of Lower Makefield Township. They typically know where they live, but we get a lot of confusion. I've even been standing downstairs with Paula and somebody's come in for a permit form. And they're like, oh yeah, it's on West College. And she's giving them the permit form and she's like, well, wait a minute, what's the exact address? And then it's past lookover. It's not in the borough anymore. And so it's, wait a minute, you need to go down to Edgewood Road to the township. And so obviously we want to stay in compliance with the law, but I guess the point I'm trying to get across in this is we're not trying to be invasive. We're not trying to be Big Brother. We're just trying to make sure that we have the right information because, well, anybody's welcome to our meetings. Obviously, if a borough resident speaks on an issue, like, for example, when we were doing the sidewalk grant up West Afton, we had both borough residents and Lower Makefield residents speak. But absolutely, the perspective of a borough resident does carry more weight because they're the ones paying taxes in this municipality. We'll hear from Lower Makefield residents, but just like, Ori, you and I went to a Lower Makefield Township Board of Supervisors meeting and spoke, but we didn't have the same level of authority as Lower Makefield residents because we weren't addressing our elected officials. We were kind of as guests. So I guess what I want to say is, in summary, is we hear you. We want to implement something that is fair. I hear what Dr. Perlmutter's saying. I can say this with, I think, a level of certainty. We're not intentionally trying to dox you. And yeah, so, and also, Mr. Hoffelder, I did look at Lower Makefield's minutes as well. So their process is different than ours. We have an employee who does them. Actually, one of their Board of Supervisors does them. So Mr. McCartney is the secretary. I didn't have time to dig too deep into this because, a borough and township are set up differently. Township boards have 5 members. We have 7. We don't have the position of a secretary on our council. I don't know if that's because townships do and boroughs don't. But for example, because Mr. McCartney is not running for re-election this fall, there will be somebody new taking the minutes in their municipality. It changes. And so each person probably does their different style. What I will say, though, is, again, I think this is something where we kind of have to find a balance of what works best. their average minutes are about 8 to 10 pages in length. Ours are 2. So yeah, it does give you a little bit more thorough, but, and in fact, when they had their very long meeting that lasted 4 or 5 hours back earlier this year on the topic of trash, which is apparently a very hot button issue, those minutes were 50 pages long. So I think it gets into kind of where's the balance, because I mean, even you explaining, in your email to us what you actually said, it's 2 pages long. Where do we find a balance to where we're getting the point across, but it's not a transcription? I'll give one more example, and then I'll stop talking so we can take a vote on this. Last November, there was a meeting where I got really heated, and I said a bunch of things and raised my voice quite a bit, and it was very intense, and that is in the minutes as Mr. Stump made a personal statement.
Yeah, I've always I've always enjoyed how they.
I'm actually grateful that the minutes say Mr. Stump made a personal statement instead of Mr. Stump lost his mind and he had props with him to back up his point.
I think, just to add to what you're saying, I think the real issue here is we're like a mom and pop shop borough, and every hour we spend transcribing costs us money. And money makes a difference when you have so little money.
Didn't we hear about that if we spent too much money on that?
Yeah, so we have to find the balance. But I do think we're living in an era, and we should look further into what kind of transcription, AI transcription we could do, and say, okay, these are the minutes, but also here's an AI transcription to go along with that, and here's a link to the video. No, I mean, I would just put it all out there. So if somebody has a question, they look at the minutes. I'm not sure about that. They can go here, they can go there. They could do their own, the public can go and do their own conclusion based on, here's what we give you, But I think we should stop it there. Yeah. Move on, I'll go ahead and take we'll do a vote on this. So we have a motion to table. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Public comment.
What's that?
Public comment.
Oh, we didn't do public comment on this one.
No.
Okay. Sorry about that. Any comment from the public on the motion, which is to remove and revise the June 3rd, 2025 minutes for accuracy?
I just want one more thing.
Yes.
I found spelling mistakes in there too. Paula Johnson's name was spelled wrong.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I've had spelling. My name is not easy, but I've had that happen.
David's name's been spelled wrong.
Yeah, and it's good.
I spelled Applebound wrong.
And I've had it corrected, so we want it to be correct. Nobody here wants the minutes to not reflect what happened. It's just the mechanics of it.
Here's one more funny one, just to add a little bit of humor. Sometimes the word sergeant is spelled wrong for Sergeant Golden because the E is taken out because Patty, her last name is Sergeant with no E. And so sometimes it's, oh yeah, Sergeant. I know how to spell that because I know Patty. And also the minutes one, it was Officer Golden in one breath, then it was Sergeant Golden in another. So I will say our, well, at the time it wasn't. We hadn't voted to do that yet. But my point is that a lot of the mistakes are not nefarious. It's just, this is how it is, and hopefully we can laugh about it a little, but we do want to fix it. We hear your concerns, and we'll make an effort to make things right. Sure.
And that's valid.
And
I think we should leave it at that.
And the point
Would they
that
take
you-
it seriously
that
if they
you brought
watched
up,
her?
which is really important, is that when you look at the summary from the minutes, it doesn't reflect the gist of what was being said, and that's where
I
we
would
have a
agree with
problem.
that.
If it says there was a complaint by so and so, okay, you could go and look at what it was. But if it says so and so talked about this, like neutral, then I guess it's legal, but I think we could do a little better. Yeah.
Just real quickly, if I may. So, some of my deep research in the last 2 seconds has shown that the Sunshine Act really only asks for a very general minutes that keep it to just the essence of what has taken place. So, though some people, I'm not talking about you, sir, or anyone else, but if you need that kind of detail, then I guess people should either watch the meeting or come to the meeting, because the minutes themselves is just a general, overview of what happened, and should not be 50 pages.
Right. But different municipalities do it.
But by law, you shouldn't have to, you're not required. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but the issue that's being brought up is that what's in there gives a different impression to what happened, and that's what has to be looked at.
That's very fair, but I'm just saying we don't have to expand it to make it
Right, it
fair.
doesn't have to
That's
cover-
what I'm saying.
Okay.
I would agree
All right,
with both of you on that point.
I think we're ready. Is there any further comment from the public? Okay, I think we're ready to take a vote on this one. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Then the motion passes 6-0. We will move on to item M, which is consideration of FEMA-funded 112 to 114 Morgan Avenue elevation payment certificate number 6. David, you wanted this one removed?
I didn't say, well, removed, yes, correct, because I wanted to get more background on M and N.
Okay.
If they could be done together, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to that.
Okay, so we'll consider M and M together. N is withdrawal of 77 Morgan Avenue from the FMA 2020 project. Do I have a motion to approve those two items from the consent agenda separately?
All right. I guess I'll move, so moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilperson Applebaum, a second by Councilperson Stump on approving items M and N. Is there any discussion from council?
Yeah, so obviously oh, you are here. You were so quiet. I was going to say, the engineer's not here, but you are here. I'm sorry. Well, it's fortuitous that we have the engineer and Susan Mazzatelli here, and I just thought I'd like to get some back, we've had, they started the group to review, better processes for elevations, and just in general, I just wanted to hear about these and, how that could be affected with, better processes and so forth, what you've been doing and how we can assure the public that these transactions will go through smoothly moving forward.
Sure. Well, before you right now are two projects that were on the 2020 project. The first one, 112, 114 Morgan, has been under construction by the contractor, and as we're aware, he is the property owner. He is very close to wrapping up and completing the project. So we have payment certificate 6 for release of some of the monies owed to him. We are, retaining. We do have retainage on the portion that was paid to him, as well as there are the final payment forthcoming will be based upon completing his punch list items, and Susan has been in correspondence with the contractor, and if you go by, today, you'll see that, he's been progressing. His project has been up. There's electric. The utilities are connected. He has some landscaping, some driveway restoration to complete on it as well, and coordinating with the building department. He's looking to get the temporary COs so we could pay that project out for it. The second one is 77 Morgan Avenue, and I'll let Susan come up and discuss that if you don't have any other questions on 112, 114. Okay.
Hello, Susan Mazzatelli. I am the Yardley Borough Floodplain Administrator and the FEMA Elevation Project Manager. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on this agenda item, which is the withdrawal of 77 Morgan Avenue from the FMA 2020 project. So this project, FMA 2020, we are in the, goalpost of finishing this, closing out this project administratively with FEMA. We are completing our last house. So, little background on 77 Morgan Avenue. In 2023, this elevation was underway. The homeowner, who was the second homeowner since this project started, unfortunately passed away in the middle of the elevation. The estate decided they did not want to keep this house. They listed the property for sale in as-is condition. The potential buyer was potentially an investor or someone who might want to flip the house. So I worked closely with Andrew, and Andrew did a great job of putting protections in place in what we call the Declaration of Covenants, which is a restrictive deed that every property owner is required to sign in this project. And the protections that we put in place was to ensure that this new potential buyer would not demolish this structure above the sill plate. This has actually unfortunately happened in the borough before. So the estate signed the restrictive deed before the sale went through. The sale went through. Unfortunately, with all of these legal protections in place, the new buyer actually started demolishing the structure. That was stopped. Why that is a problem is demolishing a house or demolishing above the sill plate during an active project is a violation of the scope of work. Because Yardley Borough is the sub-applicant and FEMA is the applicant, and the grant agreement is between those parties, we don't want those things to happen. So in that case, the borough could have been liable for repayment of the cost of elevation of that structure. So at this point, I approached FEMA. The owner was stopped from demolition. I reached out to FEMA and said, we have a level 3 alteration, which means demolition. We are asking that you forgive this without any penalty to the borough. Which really takes a lot of magic on the borough's part to get them to do this. So this whole process actually started back in probably a year ago when this happened. The wheels in the government are not moving very quickly. I sent a letter in to PEMA and FEMA asking for approval of this. They have finally gotten back to us, and we are very grateful because FEMA specifically said, we are suggesting that the borough withdraw this house actually from the program, because as a requirement of this program, we have to produce certificates of occupancy for each and every house. If you have a house that is in as-is condition, half demolished, we cannot produce a certificate of occupancy. Therefore, and the fact that somebody is trying to rebuild this house, we would have to wait till the house is rebuilt. And there could also be penalty to the borough because now someone has constructed a new house, which was not what was in the original scope of work and would require a budget increase. So after all of that, FEMA said the best situation would be withdraw the property. There would be no penalty to the borough. There is a letter that was provided to every one of you that Andrew and I worked on, reiterating back to the borough what was in the email that came directly from FEMA, which I have in my possession. So I'm asking the borough that they approve signing this letter. We can move forward with presenting it to FEMA, which they asked us about, and they're waiting very patiently for this letter. And then from there, we can issue the demolition permit safely to the new owner. They can rebuild, and Yardley can go their way and close out this project.
Thank you very much for the detailed explanation and for all the work you've done on it, because I know it was shocking to a lot of us when we discovered that happened, and we didn't know what was going to happen. So it's nice to be on this end of it.
We tried everything in our power.
Yeah.
I can't sit at these properties.
At this point, are the current owners going to be penalized by anyone at this point for their, obviously shirking their responsibility?
No, and I've made that very clear to them, that we pulled a rabbit out of a hat. And it is because of the borough's relationship with PEMA and PEMA's relationship with the borough and how they think so highly of this, that they always go to bat for us. So we're very lucky because the borough could have been in a position of FEMA saying, guess what, you're going to pay back $200,000, and then the borough would have had to seek those damages from the current owner.
Was the entire amount used from the FEMA grant?
For this house or for the entire
whatever
budget?
Did we spend any, or did anyone spend any money from FEMA?
Yes, this was completed in 2023, so all invoices were paid to the contractor, yes.
Okay.
I have an Andrew question on this one.
Yeah.
Just didn't think of, this is an anomaly, no question about it. This
Right.
is a rare thing. The person died, it got sold, it demolished. There's a lot of things happening that will probably never happen again. But is there something we can put in future agreements that if something of that sort were to happen,
So we did.
The borough would be on the line for it.
So there was language in the declaration of restrictive covenants, and the borough was protected legally. I had multiple conversations with the owner/contractor that did this, as well as his counsel. And the conversation was basically, look, we're going to try and fix this. You need to stop the demolition. You need to hold off, and you basically need to sit around and see if we can figure this out and get it resolved. Because if we can't, we're looking at a lawsuit where essentially, everybody's going to be involved in a lawsuit where we're going to be, if FEMA comes after us for the money, pursuant to the agreements and those restrictions that were put in place, we would be suing the owner for a breach of those agreements. So we were protected in that sense. Obviously, like Susan said, they did it anyway. And this is sort of the best resolution of the matter. But yes, they get the benefit of, obviously this house was raised, but the house was always supposed to be raised. But instead of having the house that was going to be there, they're putting a much nicer house, I suppose, on top of the.
And I'll tell you that I just had a feeling. I know these investors want to come in and they want to buy these houses, and this was discussed with the realtor. This was discussed with the potential property. They argued about giving us an escrow deposit. So I tried as hard as I could with Andrew to put language in a document that they signed, and they just kind of.
Well, so that's part two of the question. If legally we're okay, except that there's all the legal fees and the mess involved. Maybe it's a matter of finding a way to communicate with buyers in that situation, letting them know, hey.
They knew. They 100% knew.
Right.
There's multiple emails.
Thought they could do it and ask
they
for
knew.
forgiveness later.
They pretend like they don't know, but we have the
Right, and
documentary
we cannot
evidence
prevent
to show
sales
that.
of properties during this program.
No, but I do have a question, and something really bothers me, and that is that they, by their negligence, if that's the correct terminology, have cost the borough money. We've paid for your time and other people's time and Andrew's time. I don't understand, and please, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, so I don't understand why they're not being penalized for this infraction.
Well, because
I know you don't get to decide all that.
No, I understand, but my goal in all of this is to protect the borough.
And that I thank you about, but
Right,
I'm
and
talking generally.
Yes, and, my frustration says, yes, absolutely, they should be penalized. But the penalty would have been to the borough first, and then for the borough to try and recoup that. So my job is to protect you, and that's, I had to do that first.
Yeah, I think one of the ways to look at it, is obviously they're penalized in the sense of their reputation and standing on future projects, but also, there's an elevation that the borough completed that was paid for, and FEMA's not coming back at us for reimbursement of that. That structure that was constructed to elevate this house, it exists, it's there, and yes, they're utilizing it. But you have to look at it too. If a property owner elevates their property as a part of the program, they get their TCO, they close out, they then can basically move forward with doing whatever they want with the house at that point and can reconstruct a much larger house on top of it. So I do agree that it was in bad faith what they did, but you just have to look at it practically in the sense that there's really no damages on the part of the borough because of Susan's good work.
I actually just did think of this, and this is a decision for, I guess, the council or Andrew. We did require a escrow deposit. So the borough could choose, because they were in violation of the elevation agreement, if they wanted to keep that.
Well, if we have something on the books that makes it okay to do that, but I don't know.
Well, do we know what our added costs actually were? Because I think David, you're talking about the
We added, well, I'm talking about all of
This
Susan's
cost the
extra
borough
time, all of
$5,000,
Pat's extra
let's
time,
say.
all of the solicitors.
Yeah,
This
that's.
costs money, this costs the borough, the people of this town.
No, it did not, actually. Every single dime in this FEMA 2020 was covered under this grant. Because we had
Including the solicitor's time.
all of the issues we had with the other elevations, all of those costs were covered 100% by the FMA 2020, the legal fees, project management fees. That's why I create these budgets, to make sure that we have
Well, that's-
room for these
That's
things.
good to know, and I appreciate you telling us.
But not in
No.
dollars.
Okay. That's good, I'm glad I got the clarification, because that's good to know.
No, I've never had a project in 25 years where any of the taxpayers paid any of these elevations. Everything has come from these grants.
Okay, Thank you for clarifying
Okay.
that.
Susan, how much is the amount of the escrow deposit?
$5,000.
And we currently have that in our possession?
Yes, it's in the account for the elevation, FMA 2020.
So what, I would be in favor of not returning their deposit.
We do that legally. You can't just keep it because it's an escrow. You have to have a legal reason. That is correct.
Is violating the agreement not a legal reason?
I would say because there's no damages that have been incurred by the borough as a result of this, that it makes sense to return it because the elevation's been completed and paid for.
So we can't just be like a shady landlord where we say, I saw a dog in the house, I'm keeping your $5,000.
You can't.
Okay.
I think we need to move on, but
Donation, though.
So we can return the escrow deposit with prejudice.
I'm going to, I think, does anyone else, yes, go ahead, Andrew.
No,
Okay. Does anyone else on council have anything to add? Any comment from the public on this? Oh, Wes, go ahead.
I'd like to point out that the people that live on Morgan have had to live with this eyesore for the last year. So any delays that we put on the current owner is really just impacting the neighborhood. The current owner has indicated that once this document is signed.
Oh, Wes, they can't hear you, so I think
come sit here?
you want to come in, yeah, sorry. See, that thing we were just talking about. That's why you need someone in the room.
Right.
The people that live on Morgan have had dealt with the brunt of this mess because they've had to live with this eyesore. So any delay tactics that we do is just going to impact them. The owner has indicated that once this agreement is signed, he wants to get back to work, which will alleviate this mess. So I think it's in the best interest of the neighborhood that we get this neighborhood whole again.
Yeah, we don't want to hold it, have a lawsuit, and then have like a year later be in the same
Now that
position,
we
having
have
spent
the,
$10,000 on legal fees, but kept the $5,000.
Yeah, now that it's been clarified, and thank you, Susan, I appreciate that very much. And the work you've done, it's very, it's good to know that it's, thorough and that you were able to clarify for the residents that's not costing them anything. So I would say and agree with Wes that there's no reason to hold this up.
Move on, and recognize that this was a very unusual situation. Never happened before, and hopefully will never happen. Is there any comment from the public? We haven't heard from the public on this. Okay, so I will call the question. This is again to remind people the motion to approve items M and N. Oh, actually, yes, M and N.
Not M&Ms.
Yeah, so all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, and the motion passes 6-0. We will
Thank
move
you,
on.
Susan.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night. Susan. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 8, which is the finance report and consideration to accept the August 19th, 2025 finance report. And I'm just going to ask for consensus from council to accept that report. Bills, any issues or questions? We have consensus?
I consent.
You consent?
Anyone
Okay.
else consent?
Great. We will move on to item 8, Police Department report, which includes consideration to hire part-time officer. Pass it to you, Chief Golden.
For the month of July 2025, Yardley Borough PD entered 821 calls for service, 372 of those being.
Give him the mic.
Oh, they can't hear you.
Am I starting over?
Yes.
For the month of July, sir, Yardley Borough PD answered 821 calls for service. Of that 821, 372 were proactive police checks. We conducted 121 vehicle stops. Of that, 53 citations being issued to those motorists. We also investigated 6 accidents, and we also had 3 arrests. Along with my report, our co-responder, Taylor Zarco, who works for the county as a co-responder, who has been doing tremendous work since this program has started. For instance, for the month of July, she had 24 encounters with mental health crisis here in our borough, for a total of 21 hours and 4 minutes spent on her behalf, which freed up us as officers to go ahead and continue in dealing with criminal calls and things of that nature. She has been terrific. For the year, for Yardley Borough, she has served 323 calls for mental crisis since the beginning of this time, for a total of 83 hours and 37 minutes of her time here in the borough. So Taylor, if you're watching, thank you, and we appreciate your hard work and dedication to Yardley Borough. And with that, sir, I do have a motion to hire or to submit a motion for a conditional hire of a part-time police officer. Myself and Manager Johnson, along with Councilwoman Michelle Sharir, we interviewed the applicant. We were all satisfied with the candidate's knowledge, skills, background, and abilities. It is my recommendation to the council that we conditionally offer a hire to Alexander Byers, that this employment is conditional upon the candidate passing all the required examinations and all other MOPEC eligibility requirements. That is the end of my report.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to offer the position to Alexander Biles, was it?
The name of the,
Yeah,
Oh,
Alexander
I'm sorry,
Biles, right? Yeah.
Alexander Byers.
Alexander Biles.
So moved.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second? And seconds. We have motion was made by Councilperson Chair, seconded by Councilperson Steele Morris. Any discussion by council? I guess, yes.
two things. Number one, I'm sorry, but you went into the hiring before I could ask a question about your report. The person who's doing the mental health checks.
Yes.
Who's paying for that?
The county is paid.
The county is paying for this, so there's no cost to our residents directly except.
Correct.
Okay. The second thing is, I would be remiss not to ask this, and it's not meant to be judgmental or anything. It's just a question. There was some question about, what has brought this on, actually? Is it a matter of someone is planning to leave or has left, or is it you feel that you need an extra
So the co-responder
part-timer?
program was something that was instituted by the county. The plan was the first couple years, the county was going to flip the bill, and then it would be on the jurisdictions that our current co-responder serves, which is us, Lower Makefield, and Morrisville Borough.
Sorry, I should have clarified. I'm now talking about the part-timer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So can you ask the
That's
question
my
again?
fault.
I'm sorry.
My question is, what has prompted you to make this suggestion for a new?
Oh, for another part-time officer?
Yes.
Because I am down 2.
Okay, and I'm not familiar with who's left or has less hours or however you,
So,
I just don't know. I'm sorry.
so what happened was we had one full-time, or we had Callie Coe now, who is now an officer with LMT.
Okay, so she
She
left.
left us.
Okay.
We have another full-time officer who's also in that process now.
Okay,
So, yes, we need the help.
okay. Thank you for clarifying. I'm sorry, I just did not either remember, I don't know.
No problem.
And I have a couple of things. One, just on the whole package of all of the report and the hiring. So going back to the report, just first, thank you for your service to the borough. I only hear good reports, and
And happy 20th anniversary.
Oh, thank
20
you.
years here,
Thank you.
and just a lot of people are very happy with your work here. So thank you for what you're doing on
You're
behalf
welcome.
of the.
Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to serve in that capacity. I really do appreciate it.
And I think it's amazing that we have some process. I didn't really know about the mental health. What's her position?
She's considered a co-responder.
Or responders. Because I know a lot of the calls that you deal with, you end up having to kind of de facto, the police department deals with mental health issues. That's not what you got into law enforcement for, but it's what ends up happening. So
Right.
it's,
And
I'm
she
very
takes
happy to hear that there's,
She takes a lot of time off our plate.
and that's a huge number of calls. When you think about a borough with 2,200 residents, it's happening a lot more than we realize.
Right.
We've had her for a number of years, correctly?
Yes. Yeah, I believe I think I have it written down here. I believe the program started April of 2024.
Okay,
So over.
so just over a year and a half.
Okay, and I'll leave my comments to that. Any other comments from council? Okay, any comments from the public? Yes.
I just want to say I'm glad that you're breaking out the proactive from the reactive in your statistics.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, the detailed reporting is very helpful to the breakdown, because otherwise, if we just hear the number, we don't know.
Correct.
Did 700 people call because someone's breaking into their house, or did we do 300 or 400 business checks,
Yes.
it's good for us to know
I
that.
believe Councilman Stump brought that to my attention to get it a little bit more thorough, so.
Yeah, and
Not a
I'd like
problem.
to talk to you about that at some point also, because I looked at what other places do, and they report it, places have their own ways of reporting it, so maybe we can figure out what works best for us. Okay, so we have a motion on the table, and I'm going to call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? And the motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Chief Golden.
Thank you, sir.
We're going to move on to manager's report. And finally, thank you for your patience back there, Mr. Hoffelder. We're finally getting to your other item. So what we have here is consideration to accept the snow bid of 2025 to 2028. Is somebody taking this, or do you want me to take this? You are, okay.
Okay. So, included in your packet was the snow bid. The current 3-year snow removal contract with James Tomlinson will end on October 31st, 2025. Accordingly, a request for bids was advertised as per state bidding requirements. Bids were received from the following 2 companies, Evergreen Landscape and Tomlinson Snow Removal. Evergreen came in at a plowing rate, hourly plowing rate of $205 an hour for the first year. Tomlinson came in at $250 plowing rate for the first year. Salting rate for Evergreen was $225 per hour, and Tomlinson came in at $250 per hour. Second year, Evergreen Landscape came in with a plowing rate at $205 per hour, and Tomlinson came in at $300. For salting, it was $225 for Evergreen, and Tomlinson came in at $300 per hour. And then for the final third year, Evergreen plowing hourly rate would be $210. Tomlinson would be $350, and salting for Evergreen would be $235 per hour. Tomlinson would be $350 per hour. So based on this information, it's recommended that the 3-year contract for snow removal beginning November 1st, 2025 and ending October 31st, 2028 be awarded to Evergreen Landscaping Management at the prices stated in the bid proposal submitted by them.
Okay, thank you. And I'll just add, just for public information, is when we do a bidding process, it's not like we have a choice. We have to go with the lowest bidder. In this case, it was not the company we've been using. And so I'm actually surprised we only got 2. I'm kind of wondering, why do we only get 2 people bidding on snow plowing? Should we all get into the snow plowing business? It seems like you get 12 people bidding.
Because of the liability insurance.
Yeah.
Liability insurance and the lack of snow.
The lack of snow.
They have to pay this insurance whether the snow comes or not. It's a big issue for HOAs trying to hire snow removal.
Okay, so that's what it
I've been
is. So,
dealing with this
so we're
for
lucky.
years.
We're lucky we got.
Yes.
We're lucky that we got 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so does someone want to make a motion to accept this bid from Evergreen Landscape for 2025 to 2028?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilperson Carlson and seconded by Councilperson Stump. Any discussion from council? I'm just going to mention, we're going to have a public conversation in a moment, but we did get a message from a resident about damage that occurred with the current, which is going to be ending, or I guess the previous plowing people. We just need to know about that when it happens, so we could do something about it. Because if the borough doesn't know about it, the borough can't do anything. But obviously, if our contracted snow plowing service damages borough property,
Only
or
we
resident
had
property,
evidence. Does anyone have a piece
then
of their?
we're interested. But let me. I think
months later.
Here comes. Why don't you come on up? You've been waiting long enough, Mr. Hoffelder. Why don't you come on up and
I'd
talk
like
to
to
us?
see it.
Bring your curb with you.
We have the evidence.
Is that a piece of the Berlin Wall?
But there was extensive damage, and, okay, I've been living, in another week I'll be living here 25 years, and I've never been waking up in the night by snowplows until the past couple of years. And then my curb has been, and then next door to me at 21 Cadwallader, the curb is completely damaged there. And
Their damage is harder to see because the grass is so
yeah,
overgrown.
well, yeah, that's another issue. Nobody's taking care of that property.
We've cited them.
Okay. So anyway, if you're changing contractors, hopefully there won't be a problem anymore. My only concern is that like this gets fixed because like I can't afford to fix that, you know?
Did you bring it up to the borough when it happened?
No.
That's a problem, because we would have gone right to the contractor,
Yeah,
and the
no.
contractor would have had to fix it.
Now we're out of contract, so it's more complicated to do it, and so it's so long, because that was, you said it was February, I think? Yeah, now we're in August, so it's better.
I know.
for you,
Well,
yeah.
there's,
I know,
things are
it's-
coming up and stuff.
Yeah. But hopefully the next one will be better. I mean, if there isn't, please come to us and let us know.
Yeah.
There's a problem. We don't want that to be happening, We all live here.
I don't necessarily agree that the contract's over because it's over in October. So I don't know why I can't speak for the process.
That's true.
Patty would probably know more than I do, but certainly, and the solicitor would probably know better, but
Well, let's get.
the contract's not over.
Okay, good point.
Sorry, sir.
Actually, you should look all over the borough, there's damage to curbs. It's not just my street.
So I have the resident's contact information, so I can reach out to him offline. I'll take a look at the contract and the certificate of insurance that was provided as a part of that contract when it was awarded.
And in terms of other spots in the borough, is that?
One is on
how do you-
College Avenue, there's a big chunk of concrete broken off.
But how do we know? This is the problem. You actually witnessed that.
Well, I walk by all the
Yeah.
streets, so I see things going on.
Yeah, I mean, look, from an evidentiary standpoint, there's some difficulties here, but I'll reach out to you offline and kind of see what you have and discuss it, and I'll take a look at the contract and the insurance.
Jerry, you said you took pictures of it?
Yeah, I looked at
I
it.
took pictures, but I can't send them from my phone. I was trying to get them off my.
So here's the part that I think is tricky. It's what Ori and David have already said. If you came in here at the very next meeting or even the next day and, hey, this happened and it wasn't like this before, there's a little more evidence we can do. I think maybe the problem is now, when I looked at it today, it's weathered, and that could be February to August weathering, 6 months. But the problem is I don't know how we prove that. The angle on the curb that you brought in.
This was on my front lawn that morning after that last storm.
Yeah.
Not to cut you off, it's just my recommendation would be that I reach out to him offline, because I don't want to have a discussion about the
Sure.
pros and
That makes
cons
sense.
of that argument if we do end up making it.
That makes sense. I would just say in closing that if anything happens, just let us know as soon as possible, because it's like with anything where you have to go to insurance, the sooner, the more time passes, it hurts your ability to prove.
Well, over the winter, I was having some medical issues, so I wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
But even if you I understand you have like technical issues, but even if you just send an email saying, hey, there's a problem, we're getting the curbs hit, because then the manager can follow up and say, hey, you're hitting the curbs. You know what I mean? I just think it's good don't assume that we know what's going on or that the borough knows what's going on.
What Joel and me today is because I saw it was on the agenda and it
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
mind, you know?
Sure. Thank you for letting us know. And I'm glad it's going to a different company, so.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffelder.
All right. Yes. Dr. Pullman.
I also witnessed this. East College was completely destroyed. They fixed their curbs right away. On my neighbor 2 doors up, 22 West College, I saw him, he totally destroyed the entire front of her curb. I actually called him because I knew who he was when that happened, and he never followed back, and it wasn't my house. And then I subsequently contacted Wes recently, I guess a month ago or 2 months ago, to say that this curb was done by that same plow person. I mean, literally took out the whole front of her house. So I guess when it just was bad. It really was bad. And it was everywhere, because when I walked the dogs, there were so many curbs destroyed by this plow driver. But they definitely I don't know if they contacted his assurance on East College, but they had to rebuild all their curbs too. So I just wanted to let you know.
Who rebuilt them? Who the curbs?
I don't know. I don't know. It was because we talked about it. I mean, I was
Yeah.
talking to them and they said they knew it was the plow driver. I don't know if they contacted him and that's who did it, the insurance, but they did it pretty quickly. But it was, I mean, it was incredible how many curves were destroyed by this.
I guess that's why the insurance is apparently $2,500 a month.
And
for a
and
plow
probably
driver.
why he jacked his rates up $100 an hour on this
Paying
bid.
for it one way or another.
May not be a bad idea to let Manager Johnson know that it might be worthwhile to get a pre-video done on October 31st before the new contract goes in, just so we have an as-is condition before the new contract starts, you know?
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a matter of
Start
like
pu- they're gonna
manually
start pu-
doing
they're
it?
gonna
Just
start pu-
you
pointing
just
fingers.
walk it and hold it? Or,
Maybe,
yeah. Good thinking. Okay, so we have this motion on the table. I think we can go ahead and take a vote on it. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes 6-0. We will move on to the engineer's report. Thank you for sitting here patiently waiting for us.
Thank you. We've issued our engineer's report to council. Just to give you an update on the North Main Street Phase 3 project, we have been working with the contractor to work on our contract since we awarded it last month. Since then, we've also met with PICO out at the site. They are currently working on their design and permitting with PennDOT. As that process moves forward, we'll update the borough on that matter with the schedule as well. So what we do need to do is they needed to engage complete their design, submit for the permits, and our contractor is going to lay out and provide the alignment of our new stormwater sewer for that. So that process has been moving forward, but it's also just coordinating with PICO. So Manager Johnson and I will keep following up with PICO.
So do you have a estimated end date for the PICO work?
We were looking, potentially this could play out a little bit similar to Phase 2 of where we did majority of the work during the fall, and we came back in the spring to do the final pavement.
Okay.
It is potential just due to the, the pavement guidelines for it is you can't go, past a certain date without permission, and you don't want to do it in that cold weather either.
Okay. And have the residents of North Main Street been informed on the current?
No, not yet. As we get more dates, we need to get a schedule for that developed. We'll be coordinating.
I think because we told, we're not far from our original plan, but I think because they were probably wondering like when's construction starting, I think it'd be good to let them know. It's okay to let people know we're waiting on dates from PICO, but it looks like it's going to happen this way, and we're just keeping you informed. I would recommend doing that rather than just having them wonder and start inquiring with you. It's just preemptive.
Agreed. I'll follow up with Manager Johnson early next week, and we'll provide a little update regarding that process.
Sounds good.
I would just second that. I've already handled one comment that came through that said it was just in a random Facebook group, and it said, a councilman said August, but I'm not holding my breath. It doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then I realized the councilman was me. It's that funny feeling when you serve in politics and you stumble into a conversation that's about you and that you're not keeping your word. And so I went in and explained the processes and got a good resolution, but I think anything we can do proactively to update people is helpful.
Yeah, I think there's like a desire not to communicate when things are not known, but actually saying we don't know this, we're telling you what we don't know and what we do know is appreciated by residents. They don't expect us to be the almighty or anything like that. So, thank you. Was there anything else to your report?
No, just so, I did issue out an email to Manager Johnson about, the DCED LSA, grant is now open. The deadline is, November 30th. We do have, so I did submit that in the engineer's report as well with some specifics regarding that grant.
I think the issue is that we only have 2,000 something left
Yes,
in our
per-
grant budget.
yeah.
So the only thing we could do would be if there was a grant that we applied for that we had to reapply for and essentially like reissue the same document at a low cost.
Yeah.
We could do that. Is there one like that you're aware of? Or?
Well, I mean, there's potentially two ideas is to submit for a grant to try to do some improvements for Borough Hall, windows, maybe repointing of the brick, maybe entry, replacement of the sidewalks, and there's some drainage issues, some storm drainage issues Manager Johnson mentioned as well as there's some other items, internal within Borough Hall, Police Department areas that might be able to be addressed as well. So, that's, some preliminary discussions with Manager Johnson, but I understand, coordinating with Councilman Carlson, understanding from that budget. So I do see that, potential current balance there too. So the second item is maybe go for an LSA grant for West Afton.
For the design part.
For the design
a lot
portion
of
as
the, a lot of the
well,
work
but-
has been done. You mean?
Yeah.
I think the question to you is, what can we do that fits in with the remaining budget? So we kind of narrow because there's so many areas where we could use grant money for, but we actually don't even have the money to try to get the grant. So let's see what we could do that fits in with
Yeah.
what we've got left.
It could also be is maybe what do we want to go for? And maybe is we limit our services and figure out how to submit for those grants too. So, I'll talk to Manager Johnson more and seeing what makes sense. But I wanted to bring it up now so that in September we could look at having further discussions on it because, 2 months down the road, have that opportunity to submit for it. And that's all I had for my report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
I just want to make sure I read the bills right. On the West Afton sidewalk.
Yes.
You had a not to exceed of 6,900, and then we had $5,000 donation. The billing we received from RVE through July 31st totaled $3,880 for that submittal. Is that the end, and we really did it for $3,880?
No, what I think, I'd like to take that offline with you, because I created some more columns onto your spreadsheet, and there's a few items I just want to go through with you. We do have, for that is, we had a June 28th invoice, and we have a July 28th invoice.
Okay.
Okay, so we are within our budget for that, so we're under that budget.
It's just important from my perspective
Yeah.
that we say it's done and we get all that billing in here, because if we did it for less than $5,000, we need to give back the difference to the person who donated.
It was, no, we were close to our budget. We were
Well, then you haven't submitted the bills yet.
Well, yeah, the bills are in, and so they just haven't been presented at this point.
Okay, we'll have to look at it offline because I can't tell that by reading the bills.
Okay. Thank you for your report. And we're going to move on to solicitor's report.
Yeah, just two items briefly. So first, the borough has closed on the $1.7 million loan from FNB Bank of Newtown. So those funds are now available to act as basically a bridge until the grant funds come in on the sidewalk project. I just do note there's no prepayment penalty on that either. The other item.
I just want to clarify for the benefit of the public, because when people hear loan, they don't know what that is, but it's basically like a cash flow coverage because we've been awarded a grant and we're spending the money, but we have to do the work before we can get reimbursed, so the loan covers the difference.
Right. In a lot of ways, it acts as a line of credit, basically,
credit,
to draw
yeah.
on it. The other item is on the agenda at item 15B, there was consideration of a settlement agreement and release. I had a conversation with insurance counsel this morning about this issue. It's my understanding that that agreement and release is still subject to further negotiation between the parties. It sounds as if hopefully that'll end up on the agenda in some revised form at the next meeting, but I would just ask for a vote to remove it from the agenda because it's not ripe for your consideration at this time.
Okay. We have, you want to make a motion to that effect? Okay, is there a second? Okay, motion was made by Councilperson Siegel Morris, seconded by Councilperson Scherer. Any discussion from council? Public? All right, we'll wore you all out. I'll take the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you.
Thank you. That
Another item?
concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. And we'll move on to mayor's report.
Thank you. Real quickly, just wanted to thank a couple of the local restaurants. Again, Yardley Restaurant Week this week, right? 18th to 25th. We did a radio show about it today. And thank you to the Yardley Inn, the Continental Tavern, the Vault, and Yardley Pizzeria for participating in today's show.
Thank you, Mayor. And we'll move on to councilperson reports, starting with Kim Siegel-Morris, Public. Yeah.
No report this evening.
Okay. And for me, Public Works and Planning Commission, I don't have anything to report beyond what we already spoke about. The sidewalk and Planning Commission did not meet in August because they didn't have enough members for quorum. So we'll move on with that. And the next person we have is Councilperson Carlson.
We're in the throes of budget roll-ups, and I would encourage those of you who haven't gotten in yet, please get in. Your estimates are complete for 2025, which I need first, and the 2026, because we need to roll everything up and start making decisions. So please get it in as soon as possible. That's basically all I had to report tonight.
Thank you. And Councilman Applebaum.
Yeah, thank you. I was saving this from July, so just have a few things here. Number one, the Yardley Environmental Advisory Commission has successfully had sponsored some events like a bird and tree walk, a bird walk. They're actually planning a tree walk in the near future. They are trying to, and we have spoken with Public Works, and obviously I'm on Public Works, about their involvement in Judy's Garden and the Yardley Trailhead. They are motivated to work with us on that to provide assistance of some sort, whether it's, just their experience or maybe labor, depending on what is decided. Let's see here. I told you about DCNR last time. Okay. There is a thing that Julie Passini has brought to our attention. We have walked the Fitzgerald Field for us to consider something called a chimney swift. Now, she's not here to present it, but I thought it would be okay just to mention in passing that she will come, and after she's received letters of support from the EAC. I believe she's getting one from the Planning Commission and hopefully Public Works, to allow the Fish and Game Commission to donate a 13-foot chimney, essentially. There would be no cost to the borough itself, and the particular space that we ventured down to Fitzgerald Field to look at, is not in the direct, area of traffic. I consulted, oh, he's not here. I consulted with Rich Wayne if ever they do an event for YBA there, including the Beer Fest, if that would be a problem. He said no. Then I checked with, Sept Katz, I believe, is the person in charge of the Beer Fest, and he had no issues with the proposed placement of the chimney swift. So I just wanted to bring that up. And then the only other thing is just to determine, and I'm not sure if there's anyone here qualified to give me an answer, but it would require a 4x4x3 cement construction to stabilize the 13-foot chimney. And it's not clear to me.
You mean poured concrete, is that what you mean?
We could pour our own concrete, but whether this is considered construction and whether it needs to be brought to zoning or not. And how is the park classified, and if that has any effect? And I'm looking at Wes maybe, because he looks like he might have something to say, but I'm not sure. Any thoughts on that?
Let's get that figured out, yeah.
Not yet, but, okay. But I wanted to bring it up just so. Okay.
So if we can make some headway, also, Andrew, maybe you could help us. This one is, because it's concrete, it's like basically a pole, right? And it needs concrete.
It's a chimney. Think of it just as chimney.
But how large is it?
It's 13 feet high, and it's the chimney itself is normal chimney size, whatever.
Chimney size, because the birds like to go into.
Right.
Yeah, so I can pull up the zoning decision and kind of see where we're at with impervious as far as whether we can get it in there and place it somewhere. But I'd have to see sort of.
I can send you all the details.
Yeah, send me the dimensions and I'll compare it to the zoning decision.
Yeah, because we want to, this is something good. This is Julie Piscini has worked really hard on this, and the Environmental Action Committee is doing, we're Bird Town, they're actually doing things to have the birds actually be aware of that.
Yeah, I mean,
we want to help them do it, but we have to follow the system. We need to know what that is, and there's a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
It's one of those weird things, like when we had the ducks. Do you remember that whole thing with those ducks?
Yeah.
Is that...
No, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I would just want to see, we'd have to figure out sort of the impervious surface coverage of it, as well as the height in relation to the zoning ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some leeway built into the approval that was given from the zoning hearing board, because we had a large amount of walkways and other things that were accounted for in the impervious, but I'd have to look at it.
And just very quickly, the benefit of this is, yes, it's a benefit to the swift birds that roost in this area, and particularly near Fitzgerald Field. But what's really interesting, what is great for the community, is they eat thousands of insects, which potentially could harm human beings, whether it's a mosquito or ticks or something like that. So it's not just like, hey, let's build a chimney swift and, give the birds an apartment complex. That's not what's going on here. It's a lot more detailed but very important. Moving on, I just, Harvest Day, since I'm on that committee, they gave several $1,000s towards the Pensbury Scholarship Foundation recently. And I think that's worth noting that Harvest Day brings in a lot of money that they give directly to organizations that benefit this community, and one of them was the Pensbury Scholarship Foundation. And they set up a permanent scholarship after years of donating. We reached a plateau where we could, get this special recognition as a yearly or annual donor. I'm going to try to get, working very hard with the EAC as part of my multi-municipality cooperative corridor. We've been working with, in particular, Morrisville Borough and the Morrisville EAC. We are helping them do work with the Morrisville River Preserve. And in addition to the work that the EAC is doing, we're also, let me step back. Spearhead Project Earth is contributing to that project as well. We are not just working to, not that it's wrong, but we're helping our, fellow community accomplish something that they couldn't do on their own. And that community comes and helps us when we need help. But even more, not more important, but also in addition to that, they've given us a way to collect data. Spearhead Project Earth has started a stormwater collection study at the end of a stormwater outlet, and we have been for over 2 months collecting data. And what that will do ultimately is provide data and information on what kind of things are being collected, trash and waste, and we haven't actually gotten to the point where we're doing water studies, but I think that will be next. But the point is that, again, like the chimney swift, these are things that are done because our future and the environment depend on cooperative projects. And we're going to also continue with this work. And as I said, the multi-municipality cooperative corridor also includes Lower Makefield, and we're going to be doing work with the LMT EAC. So as you can see, and what I'd like to present to the community is that there's a lot of, it's an opportunity for us not to be so insular and isolated, but to expand and use that cooperation to benefit all of these communities. And that's the end of my report, but I did want to get that out. Thank you.
Thank you for just filling us in on all the lot going on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't realize is happening, and the people volunteering their time to do all these really good things.
Oh, I'm sorry. And if you would allow me, maybe I'll wait. I'll wait. Never mind.
Okay, so we'll move on to Councilperson Scherer.
No report.
Okay, and Councilman Stump.
I think we have covered just about everything I was going to talk about.
Great, thank you. And with that said, we've already covered the other business items, so I think we are ready for adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Seconded.
Motion made by Councilperson Scherer, seconded by Councilperson Stump. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, Captain.
Meeting adjourned at 9:27 p.m. Thank you, everyone.